Well, yeah, it very much reminds me of jujitsu in that regard, which is you just can't be afraid to lose. You can't be afraid to. I mean, you want to be competitive once you understand it, but you have to understand. I think that a lot of the feel for it comes just by. I mean, how many games do you feel like you've played over the course of your lifetime? Anybody ever asked you that? Could you guess?
No one ever asked me that, but I'm pretty sure it's around maybe 100,000, maybe 100 to 200,000. It's around that number.
And do you find that, when you're talking to beginners about chess, is that type of, is the most important thing to you to just get out there and just play and just get a feel for it and just, repetition? Is that you find that to be important?
Well, no, I mostly play for fun. It's not that like okay, I'm not gonna play a blitz game, maybe a 3 minute or a 5 minute blitz game, and then analyze it afterwards, and then learn something from it, and then repeat the process like maybe 100 times, and then over the course of a week, I'm gonna really advance in some way, or if I'm practicing an opening or in some way, but. Most of those games are basically bullet games and really short blitz games, which are basically just for fun. Either as I'm mostly using two PC screens, I would either watch a movie or some TV show or even play a game of Hearthstone or maybe something like that, and then I'm gonna play maybe a game on the other screen while enjoying both of those simultaneously. But it's not necessarily a learning process. But yeah, it's definitely important to get out there and just play some games, because if you just learn about it, if you just study theory without actually experiencing it, without experiencing someone else trying a different style, a different opening, a different approach, you're not really gonna understand anything.
When you commented before about reading the autobiographies of chess players, do you think that, I mean, this is going to sound like a silly question, but do you find yourself just as interested in the personalities behind the game as you do the game itself, or maybe even more? I mean, how much more interested are you in the the famous chess players and chess players that you know and love of days past versus the game itself?
Well, for me, I'm definitely. I mean, I enjoyed the game immensely, but I can remember when I started playing chess, and then at some point I started reading some books my grandfather gave me, and they didn't have a lot of famous chess players in there. I mean, regarding autobiographies, but I did get one about Bobby Fischer, and I did learn something about other players as well. And when I started reading them, when I learned about the great Mikhail Tal, when I learned about really important players of chess history, it was beyond inspirational. And I really thought I wasn't young. I mean, chess players really start young today. I started maybe when I was 16 to play some chess, and then I started reading some books maybe at 17, 18. But I was extremely inspired, and I remember in my first tournament games, my first classical games, when I sat opposite of a very strong opponent, uh, for example, after learning about I really tried to emulate his style and play like him, but it would be an understatement to say that it's easier said than done, because it's incredibly difficult. And even without learning all that much theory, I basically propelled fairly quickly to a rating of maybe 2000. And at that point, I kind of stopped. I went to college. I didn't dwell on chess all that much. But yeah, up until that point, I really used only the principles I've learned in books. And I can pretty much say that a lot of games that I won by being inspired by the great players of the past, and not so much with the knowledge that I got from learning, for example, openings or maybe even end games.
Yeah, well, going right to a rating of 2,000, which is an absolutely exceptional rating, how much of that did you feel was book work, like memorizing openings and learning end games and things like that? And how much of it do you attribute to kind of having a natural feel for the game also too. I mean, just what about your style of play in general?
Well, for me personally, whenever I play a game, I go out really bad in the openings. Like I always joke. I mean, I often joke about it with my with members from my team club. I say, if only I had your position after the opening, then I would play exceptionally. But I always have my position after the opening, and I always like, if you put it to a computer evaluation, it's always on -2. But it's a complicated position. And I feel very comfortable in those positions, so I enjoy playing positions like that. But most of it, it's that I really enjoy it. But not just you said, like, it's enjoying the game. It's more of a enjoying the psychology of the game, enjoying the fact that I know that my opponent will not be able to play the absolute best move for every move. Enjoying the okay, I mean, I may be down a pawn now, but I'm well prepared now to play this game for 3 or 4 more hours, where I will maybe equalize in 2 hours, and then I will fight it on. And some people, for example, lack that kind of a discipline. But now it's only been maybe lately that I've started going into some openings and some systems that I was able to break 2100, and now I feel fairly comfortable in the opening stages of the game. But I don't play any tournaments other than the ones, maybe local ones, and well, something that I don't have to devote much time to, as I'm quite busy with the channel and a lot of things that I'm doing at the moment. But I do feel that maybe in a year or so I might start going to some open tournaments to see if I can again try to be a tournament player.